I'm Zoe Flowers, and let's get into this reading for the week of May 11th, 2026. For those of you all that identify as mothers, I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. We do have a new moon in Taurus at the end of the week, which I think is very exciting. Obviously, Taurus has to do with security and having one's place in the world, knowing one's place in the world, feeling secure in your place in the world. It is also associated with the planet of Venus. Venus is the corresponding planet. So that also makes me feel like Taurus is also interested in the way they present themselves to the world, but through an earthly way, since Taurus is an earth sign, which would be different than a Libra way, which is more about the aesthetics. The Taurian way to me feels more sensorial. How do people feel when they see a Taurian person? How do people feel when they enter a Taurian home, a Taurian space, the Taurian energy field? How does the way the Taurian person appear make a person feel? That's what's coming up for me in this moment as I think about Taurian energy, which I don't think about too much actually. I should give more thought to it. But anyway, let's get into this reading for the week. Let's start with the overall theme. Going to our Moonology deck. What's the overall theme of this week, May 11th, 2026? Oh, wow. We have full moon in Cancer. A personal issue reaches resolution. So I was listening to Chani, the astrologer, this morning, and she was saying that Monday and Tuesday, today and tomorrow, are good days to share your messaging with the world, to send your newsletters out, to send your emails out, to communicate. And also, if we have a question about a certain aspect of our life, early this week, would be the week to do that. And by Thursday, we should have that answer. We should have that clarity. So I find that super interesting that we got this personal issue reaches a conclusion. You should also watch Chani's astrology for the week, because she also talks about feminine rage, which I'm also going to read on, and the Medusa legend, which I've read about Medusa before. But yeah, so this is the overall theme of the week. Okay. You are good enough. Full moon in Virgo. Now it's interesting because we got two full moons back to back. This was in reverse. Sometimes I read reversals with this deck, sometimes I don't. But there is something about this personal issue reaches resolution in reverse, and this you're good enough being in the upright. I almost feel like when I see something in reverse, it's like a stagnant energy. It's like you're almost to the manifestation, but there's something else that needs to be done. So having this "you're good enough" to me feels like, in order to make this fully manifest, to fully realize, we do have to step into this "you're good enough" energy. The thing about Virgo's always efforting. And I've known some Virgos that really fit the archetype of like very clean, very organized. And then I've met some others that are not so. And one of the things that my astrology teacher, Sam Reynolds, talks about with Virgo is that they're about efficiency. So for us, it may look like, oh, this house is a mess. Why aren't you fitting the Virgo archetype? But to them, they have their own system. Even if it's a mess, it's their system. And so I feel like that's relevant here, because even if you feel like it's a mess, Carl's a mess, if you feel like all things are a mess, is your mess efficient? Is your mess efficient, or is your mess holding you back? Is your mess clogging your vision? And so I would say investigating the quality, if you have a mess around, investigate the quality of the mess. Is the mess harming or hurting? Is the mess keeping you from feeling that you're good enough? And perhaps figuring that out is the only resolution that you need for this week. Because it is Cancer. Cancer is emotions. And so maybe there's some emotional, deeply personal conclusion that we need to reach for ourselves this week with regard to our self-worth, which is, again, very Taurian. What else do you have to say about, I would say, self-worth this week? What do you have to say about self-worth this week? Oh my goodness. Okay. If there is an issue with self-worth, no, that's not right. That's not right. If there is an issue with emotional stability, happiness, success, and things like that, it has to do with lack of self-worth, lower self-worth, and that is contributing, Ten of Pentacles in reverse, to a fleeting success and a sense of stability. Isn't it interesting? We have the Ten of Cups again, water signs, Cancer, emotions, Pentacles, Taurian, Earth. Virgo, Earth. So again, this "you are good enough," this Virgo energy, this Earth energy, again, along with that Taurian, right? Taurus is Earth, Virgo is Earth, Capricorn is Earth. These things are very much related, right? Do we feel worthy of emotional stability? Do we feel worthy of a happy home? Do we feel worthy of nourishment? The cards would say these are the issues of this week. And even on a global level, right? Because we do personal and we do global over here. Do we feel we have what it takes to not only have emotional stability in our own lives, but emotional stability globally? Are we there yet? By the looks of things, I would say no. But we're on our way. We're on our way. Isn't that interesting? Losing momentum, being unprepared. Right now, we're not prepared. We're not prepared for the 10 of Cups energy that we keep asking for. And for those of us that do magic, doing ritual for, lighting candles for, praying for, we are not prepared for our dreams. And perhaps that's the realization that comes to us this week. Is that question of, am I really ready for, like, if I woke up tomorrow and all the things I asked for came true, what would happen? Wow. Okay, we have souReq, union and power. I'm going to read that. souReq, union and power. If I woke up tomorrow and all the things I asked for came true, would I be prepared? This is an ambivalent divinity, both malignant and benign. His ferocity is able to ward off evil at the same time defend the innocent. His name derives from unite, the dismembered limbs of Osiris. souReq is usually portrayed as a crocodile or a crocodile-headed man. He heals the souls who were wounded or killed in battle, restoring their health, sight, and all of their senses. He represents the authority of decision-making power and action and the implementation of projects. Under the influence of souReq, you have a sound base which to build large business-like enterprises. Don't stop. Your effort will bear fruit and allow you to gain power. Remember we talked about efforting? Do not stop. Your effort will bear fruit and allow you to gain power. Do not stop. So keep going. Keep moving towards this 10 of Cups. Keep moving towards turning the 10 of Pentacles right side up. Right? We got 2 10s. 10s are the end of a cycle. And we got 2 full moons. Full moons are also the end of a cycle. They're a time of release. That's where we are. That's where we've been. More on union and power. Okay, interesting. So I'm going to start with the desire in the middle. The union. Did we not? Union, the lovers. The lovers is a choice. I've talked about this a gazillion times in the traditional tarot. The Lovers is three individuals, one person, one woman identified person is attractive, one woman is supposedly unattractive, and then there is the man. And the man has to choose between the attractive woman and the unattractive woman. It is a conversation about vice versus virtue. Which one will we choose? What will we choose? We have feeling trapped, which was the first card that fell. And then we have the Page of Wands in reverse, which is the last card that fell. And it's about being impatient, unrealistic, and distracted. Being distracted. Swords is all about thoughts. Being distracted. Being distracted is what's leading to hasty behaviors that were not well thought out. And these thoughts are thoughts of not feeling good enough. And what I'm hearing, and let's see if I'm correct before I say it, what I'm hearing is that we keep choosing our distractions. Yes. We keep choosing our distractions. Another Earth card, a very Taurian card, as a matter of fact. We want the independence, we want the success, we want the material insecurity, it's security, and it's here. But we keep choosing our distractions. I want to go back to souReq because it's a very interesting card that we got. The thing that's interesting to me is the first sentence. This is an ambivalent divinity, both malignant and benign. That ambivalence, that numbness that comes from distraction, impatience, fear. Why should I try? Nothing's going to work out for me anyway. His name derives from unite the dismembered limbs of Osiris. souReq is usually portrayed as a crocodile-headed man. He heals the souls who were wounded or killed in battle, restoring their sight, health, and their senses. Perhaps the battles, the internal battles, the distraction, the dismemberment, those things are all connected to me. Swords are thoughts, wands are actions. So choosing actions that are not beneficial, choosing actions that are dismembered, that are separate from who we are at our core. This is what we keep choosing. And this is what's possible. Positive changes are on the way. 5 of Pentacles in reverse, coming out of the cold. I've gotten that a couple of times over these past couple of months. What else? What do we need to know? What else do we need to know? It's easy to say, choose self-worth, choose yourself, but in a world that constantly takes us out of ourself, out of our knowing, that constantly dismembers us, dismembers our spirit, our soul. What do we need to know? What do we need to take in? What do we need to hear so that we will choose higher, so that we will have that self-worth? Oh, period. And talk about assassination of character, Queen Jezebel. Talk about being, again, dismembered and separated from our true self, right? Magnetic royal witch. We know how the witches are talked about. Again, character assassination. So this feels like, I started out talking about the divine feminine and divine rage. This feels like stepping into that energy, regardless of what people say. Queen Jezebel, magnetic royal witch. Queen Jezebel wants to show you how to stand in your divinity. When this card shows up, you may face opposition and conflict around who you are. Betrayal from others can sting the soul, but you are finally able to see yourself. Maybe some mirror work this week? You have the magical power to command and create your reality. Take time to practice beauty or grooming rituals. Upgrade your wardrobe and allow yourself to feel good. We can look at a plethora of ancient cultures that adorn themselves with makeup, headpieces, jewels, and perfumes as an example of this aesthetic magic. Remember, we talked about aesthetics. Jezebel energy has only been demonized because it represents witchy feminine power, your magic, presence, and magnetism. Like the ancient wild goddess Lilith, Jezebel's story is tragic and steeped in allegory. Jezebel was a pagan Phoenician queen in the 9th century BC who was featured in the Bible, and her existence has been proven through anthropological research. She was a foreign princess who then married and became the consort of the king of Israel, Ahab. In Jezebel's time, Phoenician women enjoyed more freedom and were considered equal to men. As such, she was able to practice ritual magic and worship pagan deities like Asherah and Baal. However, because of this, her new kingdom considered her evil. Her life ended in an extremely tragic way because of her unwillingness to accept the kingdom's one God. Not only was her king killed, but she was thrown out of a window, trampled by horses, and eaten by dogs. She is a dark, divine, feminine deity who was vilified like Lilith, Asherah, and Mary Magdalene. Fast forward to modern days, and Jezebel is a colloquial term associated with immoral women, harlotry, seduction, disobedience, and sin. The name serves to promote the unjust suppression of women, witchcraft, and paganism. The key to tapping into the energy of Queen Jezebel is not to be afraid of your witchy essence, charm, and beauty. Affirmation: you are regal and divine. Do not allow others to shame you out of your magical shine. I would change that to an affirmation this week. I am regal and divine. I do not allow others to shame me out of my shine. That's the answer. That's the work. Reclaiming our divine power, that divine feminine energy, that divine feminine rage, the unjustness of it all. To take it in, to find a way to transmute it, and use it for your own power. Tiger's Eye can help. Tiger's Eye is helpful for courage, optimism, and power. It resonates to the sign of Leo, which we love. Leo, we know, shine, baby, shine. And Capricorn, another earth sign. So with it resonating to Capricorn, this is, earth signs are concerned with building things that last. And souReq talked about building a long-lasting business. But before we can worry about business, this is becoming clear to me, is we have to have that deep well, that deep foundation that unshakable foundation of self-love and self-respect and self-worth. That is the work of this week. It's also a card of optimism to keep you optimistic as you're doing that. Maybe looking into the Jezebel lore, the Medusa lore this week, the Lilith lore this week. These deities are worth looking into. That snake energy is still very present for Taurus season. I think that's it. Ooh, if you made it this far, put a snake in the chat. I'm Zoe Flowers. I'll see you next time. Bye.